I transmigrated into the body that holds my heart. Funny. I always thought dying would be painful. But there I was, just a mere soul standing outside the operating room, staring at the clinical door, waiting as high-class surgeons meticulously extract my heart from my body behind those closed doors. That was it. Easy, painless, effortless. I looked around the dim, silent corridor. No one was here. Just me. A soul. One tiny prick of a needle, just a flash of red, and I'd fainted at the sight of blood. Then suddenly, declared brain dead. And as if that wasn't suspicious enough, claiming I had consented to donate my heart, a donor card magically emerged from nowhere. Seriously? Was the world so eager to get rid of me that it made killing me this easy? I was bodiless, but I could feel the whole world pressing down on me. Forget it. It's not like I had anything important to leave behind. Death is a gift, I thought, sighing as I turned away from the operating room, scanning the hallway for any sign of light. Heaven, right? I looked down. Or, hell, I'm in doubt. But in all, I didn't do anything bad, but also didn't do anything good. I was just the beloved granddaughter of a multimillionaire tycoon who didn't care about the world, but myself. It's not a sin, right? I have no parents, though. Maybe that's why no one was here in this cold, sterile waiting area. No mother, no father, no goodbye, no one. The clock struck midnight. My attention snapped to two men exiting the operating room. One of them was holding a cooler. Strangely, I could feel my heart beating inside of me. Ah, that must be it. They must be carrying my heart. Not paying them much mind, I peeked inside the operating room. 7 people, I counted. 1 was operating, 2 assisting, 2 cleaning, 1 taking notes, and 1 just standing in the corner. I recognized those eyes. His face might be covered by mask, but those eyes. I gave a weak smile. Well, it's not like I could stab him or anything. I'm just a soul. And besides, it wasn't a surprise. I sighed again. I was about to walk into the room for one last look at myself, my body, when I felt it. A sudden tug, then a pull. Startled, I looked at the 2 men carrying the cooler. Every step they took, I was dragged forward. Step by step. Okay, fine. I'm coming. I followed them. Not like I had a choice. We reached the hospital lobby. The nurse at the desk signaled for the elevator. We entered the elevator as soon as it opened. Just as the doors began to close, I caught a silhouette of a frantic man rushing toward the nurse's station. Drenched in sweat, worry etched all over his face. Somehow, I felt jealous. I wished someone would run for me like that. I once had someone, my grandfather, but he's gone now. Just months ago. Yes, dying is a gift. Maybe now, I can finally join him, wherever he is. The elevator moved upward. We need to hurry, said the man on the left. I know, the other replied. When the elevator doors opened again, a grand helicopter was waiting. I raised an eyebrow. Whoa, Richie Rich, I noted, dryly. The helicopter waiting by the helipad was no ordinary chopper. It gleamed under the hospital's floodlights, like a jewel forged for the ultra-elite. Its sleek, matte black body reflected the harsh glare. Edges sharp and aerodynamic, like a predator ready to take flight. The rotor blades hummed softly, cutting through the still night air with a promise of swift escape. Through the tinted windows, I could just make out the plush, leather-lined interior, silent luxury wrapped in steel. The door slid open with a whisper, revealing a polished metal floor that shimmered faintly, spotless and cold. It wasn't just a vehicle, it was a statement. Power, money, control. The kind of machine reserved for lives where time was too precious to waste waiting. Whoever my heart was going to, he is no ordinary. Just a few minutes later, we landed at the next town's most high-end hospital. Probably the most expensive building ever built. The kind of place where only the richest, most powerful people in the country came to survive. Whoever this recipient was, he was definitely richer than me. I made a note of that. Probably some filthy rich politician, business magnate, or royalty. Whatever he was, I imagined a fat, stubborn old man who simply refused to die. Lucky him. My heart was in perfect condition. I'd only ever had one heartbreak in. That was when Grandpa passed. No trauma, no health issues, no smoking, no drinking. All in all, pampered and boring. My parents died when I was an infant, so they never left much of a mark. And now, looking into another operating room, a flicker of regret passed through me. I should have enjoyed life more. Damn. I never even went to a bar. Never danced all night. Never had that drunken karaoke moment. If I ever got a second chance, I'd try all of it. Every cliché. Oh well, in my next life, maybe, if that truly exists. The transplant took longer than mine. I got bored. Again, I glanced around. Empty. This place got different floor layout than the hospital where I had been operated. We went in the exit. I glanced at my right where the sign says, entrance. Curiosity whispered, why not? I had nothing better to do. I slipped through the entrance door. The room on the other side was filled with people. Crying, praying, hoping. At the back stood two high school girls, holding hands, heads bowed. At the center an older couple, maybe in their 40s. The man appeared calm, composed, but I noticed how his lips trembled. His hand gripped his wife's so tightly, it was nearly white. She cried into his chest, shoulders shaking. I couldn't cry, being a soul and all, but my heart ached. At the front row sat an elderly couple and a man standing next to them. He placed a hand gently on the grandmother's shoulder, as if anchoring her to the moment. I didn't know any of them, but it was clear whoever my heart was going to meant the world to these people. And suddenly, for the first time since dying, I felt peace. My heart had gone to something good. Maybe his life mattered more than mine did, and that was strangely comforting. I sighed. Again. It's for the 1000th time now. I couldn't bear staying in that room, not any longer. So I wandered, testing how far I could go still, tethered to my heart somehow. Step by step, I made it to the next operating room. Then it happened. A commotion. A group of people rushed right through me, the way only the living could. They were doctors, nurses, rescuers, and on the stretcher a man, bloodied, limp. A doctor performing CPR as they wheeled him toward the doors. I was suffocating and unable to breathe at the sight of blood, but instantly distracted as I have a good look at the man's face. I knew that face. I just saw him. Back at B City's hospital. What's he doing here? He had a car accident on the way here. One responder shouted. Way over the speed limit, another added grimly. I can tell from the injuries, said the nurse, voice heavy with concern. Out of curiosity, just curiosity, I told myself I followed the last nurse into the room. I hadn't expected to be let in, but I slipped through smoothly, almost too easily. This room is adjacent to the room where my heart was being transplanted, if I'm not mistaken. The scene hit me hard. I froze at the corner of the operating room, trembling by the sight of blood all over the place. Blood. I was never good with it. That's why I hadn't even watched my own surgery. But here I was, stupidly standing inside someone else's operation room. What was I thinking? The man was dying. I could tell, his soul was starting to leave his body. And then, our eyes met. The flatline sound screamed in the room sharp, endless. It was the most disturbing thing I'd ever heard. Clear, the doctor shouted as they pressed the paddles to his chest. His body jolted, then fell limp again. No rhythm. Again. The team moved like a machine, oxygen, IVs, adrenaline. The monitor blinked. Still flat. Sweat glistened on the surgeon's brow as another shock coursed through the man's chest. His body bounced, but the line remained cruelly straight. Time was running out. Yet, despite all the chaos, his eyes never left mine. This is the first time I've ever seen a ghost, I thought. But then again, I'm a ghost too. I moved toward him slowly. He hovered on the left side of his body. I stood on the right. Someone out there still needs you, I said as I recall the image where I first saw him. Someone might be waiting for him, I assume. His hand reached for mine. Take me with you, he pleaded. Looked down at his crushed form. Broken. So broken. I don't know if it's luck, but his handsome face suffered less damaged. I looked back into his pleading eyes. I bet he assumed I'm some sort of an angel or a grim reaper, hoping I could ease his pain. No, I whispered. You still have a chance. Then, without fully understanding why, I grabbed his hand and pulled him downward, back into his body. He stumbled. The force yanked him out of the soul state, out of limbo, and he was vacuumed back into his body, making the flatline beat once again. In that exact moment, as the monitor beeped, steady, rhythmic, alive, I felt it. A sudden pull. Like a vacuum, yanking my very essence out of existence. Heaven's calling me, I thought. Or hell, I'm not sure. Then everything went black. A void. No light, no sound, just nothing. I sighed into the nothingness. This is what I get for being not so sure. I always thought I'd end up in heaven. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe this was my own version of hell, silent, cold, and forgotten. This place is cold. Surprisingly cold. Then voices faint at first. I saw her finger move. Doctor, believe me, I heard a woman's voice. Urgent, hopeful. I believe you, Mrs. Zane, an older man replied calmly. Then a gentle brush over my eyelids, followed by a piercing light, blinding, first in my left eye, then my right. I tried to scream, what the, but nothing came out. My throat refused. There's definitely a response. This is great news. The doctor's voice buzzed with enthusiasm. More voices. Excited chatter. But one sound rose above them all, a woman, sobbing uncontrollably. The same voice as earlier. She didn't speak. Just cried. Loud, gasping sobs that cracked in the middle. She'll wake up in no time, said the doctor. We'll continue to monitor her. I felt the voices begin to fade. Except, I couldn't take her sobbing anymore. Slowly I willed my eyes to open. And then a face. Familiar. The ones I saw at the waiting room from before. Hovering close. Tears streaming. I struggled to move. My eyes darted left to right, scanning the room in confusion. Then the door burst open. The doctor rushed back in, flanked by more doctors and interns. People talking. Machines beeping. I was breathing barely, shallow gasps, like my body was remembering how to live. Next thing I knew, I was slightly propped up, slumped in bed, while a half-dozen people examined me. They spoke, but their words felt like static too fast, too foreign. I couldn't take it anymore. I have to ask. Who are you? I croaked, interrupting the veteran doctor mid silence. Every eye turned to me, wide with disbelief. The room froze. Where am I? I asked again, louder this time. My mind spun. I was supposed to be dead in hell, or heaven, or wherever souls go when they give their hearts away. Then I saw it. My reflection. In the window beside the bed. A girl, weak, pale, unfamiliar. Not me. I froze. Eyes wide. Mouth open. I wanted to scream. Wanted to demand answers. But my chest clenched. T-Twi could barely breathe. She's panicking, calm her down, the doctor ordered. A nurse leaned over, gently pushing something into my fore. My vision blurred. My limbs tingled. What is happening to me? That was the last thought I had before the darkness took me again. Did I just transmigrate it to the body that holds my heart?